grinding. We are live. We are live and ticking. Hello, everybody. Come on in. Come on in, folks. Come on in. We see you out there. Marvy's already in the house. Good morning. I'll catch up with you later. It's lunchtime. Happy anniversary, Randy. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Marvy. Deeply appreciate it. Morning, Marvy. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Joe, from the desk of a small press publisher. Happy anniversary, Randy. Thank you. It's not just my anniversary. She has to put up with me. That's the whole key. And I'll say it with firm belief. It's not me putting up with her. I'll tell you that. Come on in, everybody. This is the Sunday Funnies for the 25th of April, 2021. And once again, we're flying by the seat of our pants. If you want to be part of the show, email me. Send me a message. I'll send you a link.
Quite dangerous.
Hi, Jimmy. Mike Jimmy. Hello, Mike Jimmy. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. All right, me babbers.
It's all right, me babbers.
All right, me babbers. Happy anniversary, Randy and Mrs. Randy. Absolutely. I'm sure she'll say thank you. If you hear creaks going on upstairs, that's her walking around. So. Come on in, everyone. We see you out there. Daphne will be with us shortly as soon as she figures out how to fire up her laptop. So she just got a new computer, and now she's, I guess, leaning back on her laptop. So here we go. We're going to run the opening, then we'll get to the actual meat of the show. If we can find any meat, it'll be there. Here we go. Hang on, folks.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked?
Anyway, everybody's doing well. Mike Jimmy wants to come in. I guess I'll send him a link. Good morning, everyone. I am your host, Randy Zimmerman. I'm a longtime alternative and independent comics publisher, producer, creator, currently working on reviving Arrow Comics 4.0 for the direct market, working on a bunch of books, and it's awesome. I'm loving it a lot. We're about to we're actually prepping for a press run here pretty quick, so the next couple of weeks might be a little bit more haphazard than usual.
Not possible.
We are joined this morning by Mr. Varian. Hi, Mike. How you doing? We're joined this morning by Mr. Varian Grant, who is currently off camera and off air as he enjoys his breakfast. Also by Mr. Glenn Fleming. Glenn, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name's Glenn Fleming. I'm an English writer, artist, and publisher. I've written and published books on many different subjects, such as science fiction, JFK assassination, children's books, World Cup football, soccer to you Americans, NASA, D-Day, adult humor books. I recently a few years ago, went to Easter Island. I've written a book about that, and I'm now producing another issue of my character Hatch. And I publish Comics Unlimited magazine, which is a bi-monthly 100-page magazine. That's on Amazon. All those books are on Amazon, by the way. And last but not least, in 2017, I released a DVD about my 2 visits to Jack Kirby's home in California, and I'm releasing an updated version of that soon. You can get everything, all those books are on Amazon.
Cool.
There you go.
We're also joined by Mr. Russ Leach. Russ, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm a comic book artist from the UK. Been around publishing for around 35 years. And so I came back to comics in 2010, and that's what I've been doing ever since. Very fortunate now to be doing it full time. You can find out about my production process on YouTube at the channel Comic Book Black Belt. That's my persona. Or you can find out about me at russleach.com, comicbookblackbelt.com. You can find out about the work that I've done on things like Doctor Who, Marvel, and for Cartoon Network. And at the moment, I'm doing my own book, Only Death Can Save Us, which will be reprinted by Arrow later in the year. But you can find out more about that book and, in fact, get the original book still via Indiegogo at onlydeathcansaveus.com.
Yes. And also joining us this fine morning, or probably afternoon where they are, Mr. Mike
Definitely.
Demme. Mike, introduce yourself.
Hey, Mike.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike Jimmy de Bruin of Various Ends. We published the comics Live on Korra, Infinite Guardian, and a whole bunch more coming up. And Live on Korra is currently in demand on Indiegogo, where you can still grab it. We're going to start fulfilling in a couple of weeks. And Live on Korra 4 should be coming early June. So we're busy back here, and yeah, I just felt like joining the stream because this is a really fun afternoon thing.
Cool. Especially for a Sunday.
We never talk about comics, though.
No,
Never seem to, no.
no.
Oh, here he is. Here he is, the man.
There he is.
There he is. The half-awake man.
Yeah, it's
Coffee.
it's rough this morning, man. I gotta stop. I don't know how these. I'm thinking back how I used to stay up till 10 o'clock,
Youth.
even 9:30, and I'm like 9:30. I gotta go to bed.
Isn't that crazy? You think back in my youth, I used to close bars, and that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, man. Now I'm like, hey, you crazy? It's 10:45. Wow, you gotta see that.
What the heck was that?
What was that?
That was my pop filter deciding it no longer want to stay. My pop filter desperately wants to stay in front of the microphone.
Pop wet your filter.
It's the pop filter. It's the pop filter. It wants to be here, and I don't want it there because it's for plosives, like, peas, like popcorn. Now, does that sound any different? Popcorn.
No.
See, there's no
Not
difference.
really.
That's funny. That just as Daphne comes into the green room, she's hearing you go popcorn, making your demands early. Yeah.
And it blocks my pretty face. Maybe I should keep it up this morning. though. It's kind of better.
There's no point in that, is there? Blocking your pretty face.
There we go. We do want to point out to everyone, we are TVMA DLSV. You might hear some language, especially from Varian, that you might not want your children to hear. And joining us now is Daphne Lage. Daphne, how are
Oh,
you?
you mean language like this? Jesus fucking A, my computer.
So I knew it was.
Yeah,
We were still building up, and there you are.
Yeah, it's like nothing like buying an expensive custom computer to make all my other equipment go. Mother, I am unwell.
So I felt it was important to move you under the TVMA DLSV.
Yeah, exactly, because the D here.
D stands for Daphne. The V stands for Varian. Absolutely.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good
We were
evening.
just complaining that we never talk about comics on this show.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
we were doing so well in the beginning, and then just went off the rails.
Well, I blame myself. We try to put that fun back in the funny books.
Oh, and I forgot my hat. Oh.
Oh, Glenn remembered his this morning.
Yeah, I was going to wear this one, but
He couldn't fit the headphones around.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would
Headphones,
be a little
that's,
issue. Yeah.
genuine World War II Marine helmet.
Holy crap.
Sweet. I can just see your wife walking into your room, seeing you wearing it. What the hell?
Ready for war.
Beats wearing the dress.
I'm going online, honey.
Okay, don't forget your heels.
Yeah.
And remember,
Oh,
pants
God.
are always optional.
Pants are always optional. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Just
Pants
don't
and
get up.
shoes.
I've got-
Both iterations of the word pants are optional.
Yeah, that's right. So what you working on there, Russ?
a piece for Only Death
Mhm.
in real inks.
Ooh.
Does anyone want to feel old today? By the way,
Look at that.
We all
More than
feel old.
usual?
It's too late.
More than usual.
Yeah.
It's going to
Awesome.
make me feel
Awesome
young,
is that?
probably. So, ooh, that is nice,
Love it.
man. That is epic.
Just love the feathering there.
Yeah.
Now you did that traditionally. I just assumed that you did that on your tablet, but you did that digitally.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Is that I've taken the stylings that I've put together that I've built over the last 10 years using digital and taken it to the real world. So
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Me, I'm still fighting the opposite.
You seem
I'm
to
still
be in a
trying to
constant. Go ahead.
There
No,
are
it's
so
like I'm
many
trying to
awesome-
take the real world stuff to put it in digital, and I'm failing miserably.
There are so many awesome digital tools that I will never deny, but
Yeah.
there's something to traditional that just pulls me back
Yeah.
in every single time.
Yeah.
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 I mean, since
I-
we're doing show and tell, so this is what I'm working on currently.
Ooh.
Wow.
This is going to be the cover to my Ego Raven Air the First Unicorn trade. I still have to finish it off.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's coming out in January. So
Wow.
that's how far ahead my brain is right now.
that's really nice.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
if we're gonna go that way, I mean,
Yes, show and
I've
tell.
got
Show and
some-
tell.
yes. I'm working on the creature for Life on Korra 5. Well, 4 is barely
Wow.
gonna be split
Oh,
up.
very
Oh,
nice.
there
very
we are.
nice,
Look at
yeah.
that.
Look at him. So that's really gonna go into the alien things.
That's wacky.
But that has been my work all day this morning.
Fantastic.
Cool.
So while we're doing it, let's show you this one, shall I? This is
Come on,
this
get
is
it out, Glenn.
That's all show and tell, folks.
Yeah,
Hell
exactly.
yeah.
Good. There we are. Oh, awesome.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Oh man,
Man,
that
I
is
love
clean.
that Mobius
Nice.
vibe, man. I
Yeah.
really
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Lovely
Yep.
color.
Uh-huh.
That
and
is-
it's all real.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
on
go.
a beautiful illustration board.
Yeah.
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 Fantastic illustration board.
Uh-huh.
Jake, it's not that kind of show and tell.
Well,
Yeah.
since you guys are doing that,
Uh-oh.
there's something I want to say real quick. Two things.
Okay.
Thank you. One, happy birthday to Al Pacino. He's 81 today.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good
feel
for,
old.
well done, sir. Well
feel
done.
old. Feel old. And also, I was over at Dan Frazier's house this week, and Dan Frazier has quite possibly one of the world's largest original art collections, over 800 pieces. A
That's
lot
now
of them
one
from,
sketchbook less, allegedly, because of you.
yeah. A lot of pieces from George Perez. There's some Kuberts in there.
He used his borrowing skills to get one of them sketchbooks out of
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Out of Dan's place. Yeah.
I told Dan I was going to draw him a piece because it got to the point where if you're not a part of Dan's collection, then you kind of feel jilted. And he told me other artists
Yes.
feel that way.
Yeah.
So Randy's got a piece in there. I'm like, I can't let this stand.
I've got a couple of pieces in there, actually. He might not admit it, though.
Yeah, I'm like, screw this. I got to
Yeah,
do
it's like
something.
that one probably, the first one probably ended up, was a convention sketch on a sketch pad about as big as you're holding up there.
Yeah. So he gave
I
me.
didn't even. Wow.
He
Yeah.
said, "Here's a sketch pad. Take it home and use it." And I'm like, "Okay." I assumed it was a blank sketch pad.
No.
It is not. There's
Wow.
art in here.
No pressure. No
Yeah.
pressure.
There's art in here. So I can't make out some of the names, but there are some gorgeous pieces in here.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Oh, that is nice.
I can't make out the names.
No.
It's like,
Oh, and I've seen
Right,
that.
yeah.
I've seen that autograph before too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it looks familiar, but I can't place it. Yeah,
Seen
yeah,
that signature. Be careful.
Yeah.
yeah, dude. All of a sudden, you hear a ripping
Turn it the
sound.
other way. Turn it the other way.
We know who this is.
Ooh.
We know who
That
this is.
is super clean.
You know what? This is Scott Rose,
that-
man.
Is that Rosema?
Yeah, this is Scott Rose.
Oh yeah, that's August.
in my opinion, phoning it in.
I sent him a link today too, and he's not here yet.
Well,
I
you
don't
can
know
tell
if
him.
he's going to join us.
You can tell him he's phoning it in when he comes.
Yeah.
I'll leave.
You're phoning it in. Run.
Everybody that does pieces for Dan just phones it in,
Yeah.
just like what Scott did.
Other way.
The other way. The
Upside
other
down.
way. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, look at that. Ow.
That is some
Nice.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who is that?
Aztec.
No.
Oh,
Who
I
did the
can't
work?
make out the name again. It's
Zoom in on that
signed it.
signature. We'll figure it out. Somebody's barking in the background. Is that yours?
It sounds like a bird,
Pigeon.
and
It's
it's
a
not me.
Oh,
It's
hold
not me
on.
this time.
Hold on. Yeah, no, I, it's from me. Sorry, I think there's a bird on the balcony.
Oh, okay.
1 second, I'm gonna scare it off.
I'm trying to do a podcast here.
That's the hassle with too many artists. They don't make their signature plain enough to read. They just do a scribble and they expect everybody to know whose it is.
I've never really thought about that. That is funny. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
That's
That's
gorgeous.
I don't expect
Oh,
anyone to
shit.
know who I am, so my
Yeah.
signature's always clear.
Yeah.
That's Joe Corney. Only reason I know his signature is because he puts his signature on the on his banner. So
Okay.
and I know him. So I'm like, oh, I know who that is.
I believe I learned that from Mr. Mike Grell. One time I was at a show and he was signing stuff and he says, you always need two signatures. He says one of them is your signature that you put on your art so everybody knows who did it. That's why he's got that line, Mike Grell line look to it. He's got a very distinguishable signature that you can't help but read. And he says, and the other one you use for your checks.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that was how long ago he was giving that advice.
Exactly.
Back when
Checks,
people
what's
actually
that?
wrote checks. Yeah.
Uh-huh. For a radio audience, a check is a paper that
A piece of
we
paper.
use
wow.
use to exchange currency.
Nice.
Now, who is that? I can almost make out that signature.
It looks like it's, I would say Emma, but I can't.
Emma, yeah.
No idea.
On
Wow,
Barrows again, Barrows.
Maybe.
I mean, that just goes to show you just how many people are at conventions, just exhibiting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you really lose track.
So
There's so many of us out there.
So, but here's the plan. Here's what I'm gonna do. I need to make sure I have a good quality piece in here,
Yeah.
and I decided that I feel that I can overnight that to Russ. Russ can draw it. Russ is going to conveniently leave a signature out of it.
You wanna risk?
You don't
sending
want to
that
send that
Europe?
through the mail.
No.
You're joking, but
Russ is going to draw on it. He's going to send it back to me, and I'm going to sign my name to it.
Change your name to Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Learn his practices. How to create books tomorrow, boy.
Put that signature in a box. Just put Bob Kane on it.
Yeah, really.
There you go.
I'll just sign my signature here and here, and now it's mine. That was done to me before, so that was done to me. I was like, "Why is my signature erased? Huh? What?" Like, I see.
Oh, I don't know.
I see out here fronting. I feel fingered.
Ooh. That means something totally different in the UK.
Yeah.
No, it means the same thing.
No, it might not. No, not really.
Unfortunately, they had the same meanings.
Bristolian Dave says, I highly recommend Only Death Can Save Us. A fantastic book.
Yes, it is.
Thank
Yes, it
you,
is.
Dave.
Jake is in the house. Jake's waving hello.
Jake.
Says it feels
Hi,
great
Jake.
being young and pulling odd hours. Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
No, it's like when you get old, you're pulling even odder hours. So
All the
Yeah.
hours are odd. All of
yeah.
I was up at 4:30 this morning
Joe.
wondering why. Yeah. Bristolian, hello. Do you have anything to share, Daphne?
Well, I just did.
You did?
Yes.
That
I
must
just
have been
did.
before that.
Yeah, my
Yes.
cover right here.
Because
Like I said, my brain is in December, January already. I'm 10 days away from finishing a Kickstarter right now, but my brain is already in next year.
Joe says Glenn is
I've done the
always
same.
going to war in publishing. Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
stay ahead.
Yeah, for real.
I'm
I
trying
don't
to get
understand
3
that.
months ahead now.
Yeah.
Getting ahead or always going to war in publishing.
Always going
Always.
to war. I don't
Always
understand.
going to war.
I was back when
Yeah.
you had your helmet. You showed your
Yeah.
Oh, I
helmet.
see. Right. Okay.
Small press publisher. You talking to me? It could be worse. The male gaze is killing my ass. Dang. It'd be a shame if Russ ripped it up live.
Oh,
No, it
oh,
would
like I
be.
said, we were waiting for Varian to do that. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that found itself in my collection. I don't understand. No, I got to get that done. Now he's going to come down on the 14th. I'm going to scan all his artwork because I have a large format scanner.
Wow. Yeah.
So I told him, I said, you're going to be here for a couple of hours because he's got over 800.
You got one big enough to handle?
I was about to say, really?
Yeah. The Caesar can do it.
How come you didn't tell me that before?
I did.
No, I don't remember.
Wait, what? So which one? Which scanner is it? Is it the bootleg one that you have, or?
Yeah, the Caesar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Caesar one can scan it.
Oh, that'll scan that big?
Yeah.
Oh, they really
Oh, damn, nice.
You know, okay. You know what? Not for nothing. Let's talk a little seriously about that piece of equipment. So, how much have you been using it, and do you actually recommend it for scanning artwork?
And when does ahoycomics.com start?
Right, yeah, exactly.
No, just kidding.
You know, because again, my scanner's like going, and you know, so it's like, you know, so I'm kind of looking at replacing it, but
I will tell you that it was a learning curve.
Okay.
Because the one thing that you never take,
but it does have curve flattening technology.
Yes.
No, yeah. So if you're scanning out of a book, like a comic, for instance, it takes the curve out of the page. But one of the things we never worry about with our scanners is that when you put stuff in your scanner, you close it down, it handles everything else. Well, you don't have that with this, so you have to make sure your lighting's good.
Oh,
you know, people normally don't think about that.
Right.
So luckily, you know, I got pretty even lighting in here, and I move some stuff around to keep the lighting, you know, solid. And they do have a built-in light. Yeah. So if you have you don't want to be the person scanning this right next to a window.
Then this is kind of out of the
one side.
Yeah, because you'll have that blowout on one side.
Takes off. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I can recommend it. I mean, it's worked out for me in the few times I've had to use. I haven't used as much as I thought I would. I thought that I would use a lot more, but you know, it's got some other cool features, like it makes text instantly editable, so I can scan it and it takes whatever I just scanned.
Oh, really?
As long as it's typeface.
That's amazing.
And puts it into a program, and makes it so that I can, you know, edit and change it.
Okay, so it sounds like I'm just gonna have to stick with getting a flatbed then.
Yeah, I mean,
I found one on Amazon for like $400 and something. It's probably the least expensive that I could find.
I got an A3 Brother printer, and it's got a great scanner in it.
Brother,
right? Yeah, no. Well, I'm looking. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, for real.
Mine is kind of agree with Varian on that one.
Yeah,
I got the.
I mean, it depends on. Yeah.
I got the Epson WF7710, which I got for €200. I think it's currently for $350, $400.
Yeah.
And it's been doing its job loyally for 5 years. So
yeah, I've been using a Mustec, which is a Korean brand, but for some reason they no longer sell in the United States. So I have to look it up. There's another brand that seems to be, it's called VTech or something like that, and it's like, okay, it's probably a similar like Korean brand, and I haven't had like a quality issue at all with it. So
my friend brought me a Mustec. He said, "Listen, this is the Mustec I had back in like '98."
Oh, is that the gray one?
You can borrow it for a couple of days, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem, man." And
he's never getting it back.
No, he won't come back and get it. I'm like, "Bro,
that's on him then."
Yeah.
I've tried to get back to him. I seen him once at my office. I'm like, hey, here's your scanner. Oh yeah, I'll get it. He left it again. I'm like, I'm not carrying this thing around me forever, but I'm afraid to throw it away because I know once I do, he's gonna say, hey, you got my scanner?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
no, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly
By the way, too, I know that you guys remember this toy from the 90s? The Marvel's famous couples, Spider-Man and Mary Jane.
Nobody remembers that toy. No.
Probably because I was only a kid playing with like, oh my God, Mary Jane. So, you know,
I didn't know they had dollar stores back when you were young.
This was a $35 toy, sir. There's one at
Holy
24,000. Yeah. And this is 90s money.
Oh,
This is 90s 35.
P.T.
Right,
Barnum,
yeah,
P.T.
yeah.
Barnum got you there.
So this particular toy, Toy Biz is no longer Toy Biz is around, but Hasbro now has the license for the Marvel toys, and they've repurposed the Famous Couples brand. They've repurposed it, and I was able to pick up the first two figures from that line yesterday from repurposed figures. Yeah, Famous Couples.
Oh, here we go.
Embrace yourselves.
Yeah.
Literally.
I was able to pick them up. There you go.
Cyclops and Wolverine. I knew it was Cyclops and Wolverine.
You know,
I got them. There they are. Mwah.
This is what Varian does.
Thank you, Mr. Hickman.
This is why Varian doesn't do a lot of artwork.
Thank you, Mr. Hickman. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's Cyclops and his exclusive Tron variant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's his new costume. Yeah, this is new. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's
I'm very sorry.
He's playing with dolls.
Oh yeah. That's what I do. I got Megan Prime
Action
over there.
figures.
Ow.
Yeah, the
Bill
lady.
says LMAO, a comic show that is talking and showing production. Is this Sunday funny?
I know, unheard of.
No,
yeah,
it's weird.
Unheard of. Yeah.
It's just wonderful. Oh,
That's
I'm
my one.
flexing my
no, you're not. This is called Indecent
Murphy stuff is
Exposure.
saved for the Twisted Fairy Tales. Please.
Yes, definitely. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's one big pencil case, though. Okay, Jay. All right.
Pencil pusher. I got some cool
Pencil
stuff.
pusher. Sounds like a personal problem. Can't
I
wait
got
to
some-
see Twisted Fairy Tales completed. I still write checks on to get large sums of money from my bank.
Can I have some?
Yeah,
Share with the class.
we're artists over here.
Yeah, we
Then
like.
You still use banks. That's amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I wrote a check recently. It was the first time I'd ever written a when you get money for
Like
for
a
your
money order?
stories. No, when you get money for your stories, what was royalty
Okay.
check? That's it.
Mhm.
Oh.
royalty check.
So I got my first ever royalty check last year.
Is that like
No way.
0.01 cent?
Wow, it took you that long?
Yeah, it took me that long to get a royalty check. I got a royalty check last year, and then this year because of my because of Only Death Can Save Us, I paid Rick my own very own royalty check. I wrote him out a check.
Ooh.
Ooh.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say that's usually a check for services rendered. So
Yeah.
was-
That was for Rick. Yeah.
Was
For
the
my-
royalty check that you received?
That's
Was
not
it?
royalty.
I got a royalty check from Marcosia for Terminus at Fenton's Green for
Okay.
singles.
All right. Well, see, I was hoping you were
Good
going
on
to be the
them.
publisher. I was hoping because I wanted to know, like, was it worth cashing? But never mind, you can't tell us
Yeah.
Uh,
that
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, right? Was
Barely.
the check at least more than the paper
it was,
printed
it was
on?
Got me a sandwich.
yeah, it was a nice sandwich.
Yeah.
One with
When I was
actual lettuce on
working,
it.
I was working once at a copy shop, and we had to, and one of our jobs was printing out, I guess like a royalty statement from one of these big publishers, and you'd be amazed at what they print out checks for.
It's
Like we're
29.
talking about like almost like negative numbers, and it's like how is that even possible? Like why bother at that point?
Well, it's important to stay transparent with your
Yeah.
people. That way they know. And you
But
send them
a lot
a
of
bookkeeping
negative
sheet. Yeah, and a check. Yeah.
In some ways, it's down to contracts as well. You have to
Yeah.
keep people
Yeah.
abreast, and if you're sending them 2 pence or 20 cents or whatever it is,
No,
in
for
debt,
real. That's exactly what the checks would
can't-
be like.
they
It's-
can't argue. They're just like, oh, right, okay.
You know, and for anybody who thinks we're getting rich off of that, those 20-cent royalty checks were the common ones in this book. So yeah.
Hey, those 20-cent checks add up.
Yeah, right, sure.
They can, yes.
Hey, they add up to 40 cents after a while.
There you go.
I have a bank account for some reason at Comerica, and it's been sitting there for
There's
the better part of 15 years.
Glenn's opening page for Hatch.
Yeah,
Hatch.
that's-
35 cents in it.
Lovely.
yes.
I'm up to $1.10 now.
Nice.
Not worth it, but in interest, $1.10.
Yeah.
There it is, Hatch. Those are the footsteps. Now, keep these footsteps in mind because that's when Hatch carried you.
Well, just wait till you see what he is carrying. You know, you'll That's the top of his head halfway down there. You can just see his head disappearing over the top.
Oh, wait a minute.
I thought it was a bump in the road.
Right.
Aha.
I won't
there.
tell you what. I won't tell you what he's wearing, but he's got a hat on, and you'll see that when he's when
Is it
he
a World War II
reveals.
hat?
That's
Right.
really cool.
It's well, pretty close. Yeah, I'll tell you. It's a World War II flying helmet that pilots wear.
Wow, I can't believe I actually had that right.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder you have that helmet handy then. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reference.
yeah.
As my son says it.
And that'll be out just as soon as I put it out.
Cool.
Was that what
Yeah.
you say? That reference?
My son calls it reference. Yeah,
Reference.
I need it for reference. Like what? What is reference, son?
Only on 420. Yeah.
Yeah, man. He puts hard like pronunciations on certain words, like his mother. She says expiration date, and I'm like,
Oh.
stop saying that out loud. We're in the
All those
market.
extra syllables.
Yeah, we're in the market. Stop saying that. It's the expiration date. Expiration. What? Expire? Or you can't combine those words.
Aluminium.
Yeah. Oh.
Imperial
Aluminum.
in the house.
Yeah,
Imperial.
yeah.
Hope you're doing well.
That's because aluminium is the correct way of saying it.
Yeah.
Aluminium.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Aluminium.
Aluminium. Apparently,
also-
my son has got a degree in chemistry, and he told me that there was some kind of swapping going on as far as the periodic table was concerned, and part of it was that aluminium would be the correct way of saying it, but the Americans never kept up to their side, and so they continue to call it aluminum.
And also Americans say,
Look, we can't even- we
Parmesan
can't-
cheese, don't they? Parmesan. It's
We can't even
Parmesan.
agree. We can't even agree on how to say caramel.
Yeah.
or mirror.
Caramel.
Say mirror.
Mirror.
Yeah.
Mirror.
Mirror.
Mirror. And warrior. It's a
Warrior.
warrior. It's a warrior, not a
Uh-huh.
warrior.
That's
Jaguar.
okay. You still spell color with a U. So.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's the right way.
And don't even get me started on spelling realize. Why is there an
Oh,
S
wow.
in there? I don't.
Well, that's nice.
Look, guys, I got the first
Look
10
at that.
pages back from Live on Cora 4 yesterday from my colorist. So
That is
Wow.
sweet.
I'm showing off.
Yeah.
I
All right.
Today's
I
the
am
day.
As well you should. Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely colours.
It's
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really
It's
nice.
Did you get her?
Incredible what
Did
kind
you
of
get
job
her
she
the graphics tablet yet? The Huion? You said you were gonna get?
it should she ordered it. It should
Oh,
arrive
okay.
any moment. So
Because
yeah,
I'm curious if you're gonna see a difference.
oh
Beautiful
man,
work.
Yeah.
like I'm pretty sure she's gonna go faster, that's for sure.
Right.
But
Yeah.
just the amount of work that she put into this, and these are like I pride myself in the amount of texture I put in my inks, but
Yeah.
she adds a completely different dimension to it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I'm not letting her go.
Uh,
No.
I mean
good
that
colorists will do
yeah.
that. That's part of their job. It's
they
amazing. Good
know
work.
how to really enhance your
Yep.
work as opposed to like burying it under color, which some people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then you got the black and white pages
Right.
because I got 22 of them already.
Yeah.
It's
That is
incredible.
awesome. Yes. Very nice.
Colors be popping, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This man is imposter. The man not Varian is imposter. The real Varian's got a hat. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. The real
It's
Varian.
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It's not really his hat.
Cut him some slack, guys.
Yeah.
It's very early in the morning. It's 9:36. I should still be asleep on a Sunday. This is. I do have a question here that was actually for your
Last scanning tape.
for your for Sunday Funnies, Randy.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, and this one is from Thomas, and Thomas would like to know how he is he feels that okay, I read it. I feel that the market for what a book is worth, he's talking about price guides, is broken. I had a book that at one point was going for about $500. I've always maintained that I would sell it for that price. In fact, I have a sticker on the outside of the packaging I have the book in for $500 if anyone wants to buy it. I recently picked up a new price guide and found that the book had dropped substantially down to 110. I don't feel price should be able to go down once they go up. Go down once they go up on a book. How can we stop this from happening? Is it fair? And he wants to know if people actually look at price guides when they're buying and selling books. I just want to go first by saying what you want is you want the price to lock in, like it can never go down. This ain't life insurance, baby.
I mean, boy, if you think that's so volatile, you should see the stock market. I mean,
oh god, oh god.
I mean,
if you think that's bad, you should look at page rates.
Right.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, it's like talk about things that keep falling. I've seen the opposite problem. I've seen books that the price guides have said were like worth nothing, but when you try finding them on eBay or whatnot, they go for top dollar. So yes, sometimes it just depends on whether they take the book seriously or not.
Books are like houses; they're only worth as much as the market is willing to pay for them. You can't legislate how much they're going to be worth.
Right.
You can only put it out on the market and see what people will pay.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And Thomas, you have to remember, collectability is like a wave. It's like it goes up and it goes down, and you're suffering the downside of that. Yeah. Your book is probably really old. The collectability value, the interest on that title is probably really waning and going down like a rocket. So that $500 book, if it's now worth 110, it's really likely it's only going to be worth 50 in a couple of years.
However,
so just keep that in mind.
In 15 years' time, it may be worth double. So just put it away and keep it safe. If it's something you love, just put it away and keep it safe. And eventually it'll be worth something.
Yeah. That's the whole key. If it's something you love, you're not going to sell it anyway.
Right. And also it's like it depends on how much you spent on it to begin with. It's like, if you spent $250 on it hoping to turn it for $5, I can understand why you're a little tight about it if it dropped to 150. But also you got to look at, like what happened in that time that made the price drop. Did somebody find like 500 copies of that book in a storage shed somewhere and flooded the market with it? Did interest in a movie property drop? It's there's a lot of mitigating circumstances as to why that price dropped, but I don't think a printed price guide is really that accurate. I think you would have to go online and really see what people are actually paying for it, as opposed to what a price guide is claiming.
Come on, man!
Those price guides are outdated as soon as they hit the streets.
Yeah,
because you don't know how these prices will fluctuate or go up or down. But it follows in a large wave. We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago when I was showing off different formats, and we started talking. I showed off a Big Little book. So I'm a big fan of the format. I love the format, but I've literally seen the collectability market on that format go really high and is now really low. I can buy books for $8, $10 that a few years ago I couldn't buy at 130 or 150. But that's because the interest in that format and that particular type of book has dropped so severely. And the main reason for that is the people that loved reading them are passing away.
It'd be interesting to know which
nobody's
book it is.
printing it in that format. Yeah, it would be interesting.
It'd be interesting to know which book it is, though.
Oh, that's true, because that would add a lot of context to the conversation. Too.
A couple years ago, more than a couple years ago now, I'm old. I bought Top Cow had released the Witchblade compendiums, just big collections, and I bought them. They were like $50 a piece at the time, and I bought the volume 1 and volume 2, and it collected 50 issues each. And so 1 through 50, then 51 through 100. And I did the same for Tomb Raider, which was when they had the license, which was the whole entire series. And for a while, I just had them because I'd rather look through those and pull out my individual comics.
Yeah.
And they sat on my shelf, and then imagine my surprise when I look on Amazon and I see that they're going the Witchblade, the volume 1 compendium was up to $400. Someone wanted to sell it for, and I'm like, well, it had been out of print for so many years, there was no way to get the entire collection. Well, sensing that there was money in the water, blood in the water, Top Cow fixed that real quick. They were like, oh, well, here's the compendium. You guys want the compendium? Here, take it. Well, like you said, the market for
Yeah.
that other one fell out real quick.
Yeah.
Because now they're doing a nice hardcover, and
Right.
look at this, and it's only $50 on our site, straight from us.
And that's
the
what
market.
could have happened to Thomas's
Yeah.
book as well. Could have been
Yeah.
reprinted. The demand for the book has just dropped. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once it gets reprinted, it's over.
Well, I disagree with that. Surely the originals are the original, and people are going to want that if they can afford it. You know, I've got a lot of my stuff from New Gods and things like that. I've got the originals from 1971, and I don't look at them. They're all packed away. I bought the omnibus, whatever they call it, black and white versions a few years ago.
I think it depends. I think it depends what's driving the market, Glenn. At one point, that was correct because it was about collectors.
Right.
But there's a big market now because modern comics aren't that great, and people are going and buying back issues, large numbers of people. And so it's actually the readability that's becoming more important. So that's why these old omnibus collections, like the essential stuff that I've been buying, are starting to get really expensive.
Right.
Because people are actually buying them to read them, not just to not to collect them. Because it used to be you collected the single issues, and the omnibus was just the stuff you flick through. But that's where so much of the rereadability is. So I absolutely 100% agree with you. But I think the market's being driven slightly differently now, which is exactly why you can find a comic book like Varian saying something that was effectively a reprint anyway, suddenly becoming valuable,
right?
Rather than the original books, because people are going back to older books to find content to read.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and by the way, manipulating a market to keep prices artificially high is actually a federal offense.
Those essential books that Russ was talking about, I've got quite a few of those. Fantastic Four and Thor and Captain America and all those things. It's a win-win for me because I don't have to look at the originals and spoil them somewhat, and they're in black and white as well. I can see the artwork.
Yeah, they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Those
they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Daphne sounds like the nice federal agent that comes to your house to arrest you. Yeah, actually illegal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually,
taking on the handcuffs. And
but that's what he's asking for. It's like, how do we manipulate the market? And it's like,
don't do that.
we need to know something.
You don't.
Solian says it's a simple case of supply and demand.
Right, exactly.
It says things falling. You've seen the trust in politicians recently.
Recently,
Price guides are not very useful. Always base the price on what they are actually selling for. I tend to use eBay as it gives a decent idea.
And when you use eBay, look at the sell, what it's sold for, not what they're asking for. Because I always hated those articles that came out that says, Disney VHSs are selling for thousands of dollars on eBay. And then you go looking and it's like, okay, yeah, people want thousands of dollars, but if you click on what they sold for, like there's an option to see what they sold for, you find out that they sold for like $20 or something. Like they're actually that's what they're actually selling for.
It's only worth as much as the next person's willing to pay for.
Exactly.
A friend of mine, his dad owns a pawn shop, and I was hanging out one day and I was noticing, I was like, they got a computer system, and they have a computer system when they're taking in things, because they have to type in like the number, like serial numbers or whatever. And that information, it's a program. It costs like, I think they told me it was like $200 a year, but it automatically goes to the police. So the police can pull it up. If anything's been pawned, they need to come look at. Well, I asked myself, that's cool. So what do you guys use to determine the price? Is it eBay? I thought there was I thought there would be some central governing system. Nope, they just go on eBay and look and say, okay.
This is not really something that gets regulated. Like I said, it's the manipulation of it is regulated, but I mean everything else is just go on eBay and you just aggregate the numbers.
The gross manipulation of it.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, they'll come down on you once you've done it enough and you've caught their attention.
Yeah.
So they can't catch everyone.
That's
especially
true.
in a lot of the little smaller markets.
Yeah. I mean, because the example that I gave before, so the book was Albedo Anthropomorphics. I think it was issue 3, which was like the Usagi Yojimbo, I think, premiered in that.
Yep, I've got that.
And according to the price guide, this was years ago. This is that I looked that up. According to the price guide, that book was going for less than cover price. Like, I don't know what they based it on. But yeah, good luck trying to find it for that price on eBay, because I never saw that issue go for below $500 every time it popped up, and it sold for that. So yeah, the price, I don't even know how they got that price for that book.
Well, they go around and ask different retailers. And a lot of those prices stay stagnant on purpose because they don't get a report from the retailer that the books are booming. So Overstreet especially can be 3 or 4 years behind a curve on price guide.
Right, and also price guides, they're not really, I mean, I don't know about now, but I know back then it's like they really didn't know the power of the obsessive power of furry fandom to drive up those type of
Oh God.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
so
God.
yeah, so yeah, you can't I wouldn't take price guides as
Well, and a
face
lot of those
value.
books, like Albedo that you mentioned, had very small print runs and multiple printings on some of them, and a lot of those Albedos are worth a lot more than people realize.
Mhm.
You know, you can also we talk about journalists playing favorites or being controlled by publishers. I imagine the same can be done for someone who's doing a price guide. Like, hey, buddy.
I completely believe that. But that's what I suspected. They looked at the Albedo and go, oh, what the hell is this? Who's heard of this? Oh, it can't be worth more than that.
Yeah.
Because I never heard of it. And it's like, oh, it's not you. It's not you that has to hear of it.
Yeah. You know, and it's like, and you know, imagine if Mike decided to put out a price guide. I'm calling him with threats. Mike, I know the last call stuff in there is obscenely high, right? And you're like, what? Mike, I've got video of you saying this, and that. Now, if you don't put my price guide up, I thought we were friends, Mike. I thought we were buddies.
Oh God, we're going back to that, aren't we? Oh God.
But the thing is, though, I mean, I suspect some of that happens too. Sure.
No, I'm not manipulating the market. I'm manipulating Mike.
Right. Yeah.
And again,
man.
to lean back on the Big Little books, a lot of folks were pricing it at the last price guide, which was back when they were valuable. And it's like, no, you can't get those prices for these books anymore.
You know, it's like people who thought that Hummel figurines were worth something until everyone's grandmas started dying at the same time.
Beanie Babies, same way.
exactly.
Funko Pops, same
I
way.
actually have a really funny one on that one.
Pogs.
On books being like, oh, this might be worth something at some point.
Right.
I was at a comic collectors con, and so I had the first issue of Love and Cora going out, and I sold like hot buns because people were like, this is only going to get one print run, right? And I'm like, well, maybe. It depends on how well it does. So I sold like 50 copies, and I'm probably going to have to do a reprint real soon. And those copies aren't going to worth anything.
Right, yeah.
But, you know, the guys are going to be like, but maybe it does.
You could change something on the cover, though.
Yeah, you could, or you could just put something on the inside saying second print.
Second printing,
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Just to keep the collectability up on it.
You know, if that's a concern. I mean, like, gosh, the last time we came across that was back in the 90s during the boom. And there were people that they would buy up everything. If they'd never heard of you, give me one of everything on the table because it might be worth something in the future. And it was just like,
it still happens.
Crazy times. Not as crazy as it was back then.
Okay, I admit it was just one con. That was just my entire day.
You're right.
But like we had like 4 or 5 things, and you know we do small print runs. Like we're not, we're not big, and I had a line of people going, I have no idea who this guy is, so I need his books.
Right. Yeah.
And
those
they're I mean, we're talking about people like guys that are clearly in the comic collection thing for at least 40 years, with either a beard or balding.
Why not both?
I'm talking about the guys that only go out of their basements whenever there's a con.
Right. Yeah. Well, that
As Randy is sitting in his basement.
technically that would be
Yes.
No
I
hate.
think what you've got to do, I think it's obvious to see that people, not like us here, I don't think, buy things to see what they're going to be worth later on. And I could put members of my family in there because you know I write books and things like that. And when I publish a new book, they get a copy, and the first thing they say is, "Have you signed it?"
Right,
Not is it any good, or I look forward to reading this, or
Does
what's
it come
it
with a
about?
certificate of authenticity?
Maybe that's because they
God.
know they're rubbish, but they just want it signing, you know.
Because that's what we were doing back then too. It's like everyone's like, "Oh, does it have a certificate of authenticity?" And we would print out certificates and stuff. And now it's all about slabbing. Because like I've seen a lot of indie guys, like I think it costs like $35 to get one of your indie books slabbed at CGC. So it's like I've seen a bunch of indie guys do that, and it seems that people react to that. It's like, oh my god, it's slabbed. It's a 9.2. You know, it's like they've never heard of the book before up until then. But now that it's in, now that the book's been hand soloed to death, it's like now it's like they feel like it's worth something.
Because then that 9.2 is a rating for how good the book is. Randy, you got one more question here from Artful Dodger.
Ooh,
he's written in before.
Yeah, would you like me to read it?
Yeah.
Oh, blimey, governor.
Can I have some more, please?
The old Artful Dodger says, how come all you guys talk about is indie books? How come you don't cover your mainstream brothers?
Because they're not my brothers.
Sorry. I almost regurgitated.
Well, they're not my brothers.
For all you,
Daphne, do we have something we want to add to this?
Yeah.
For all you talk about the industry, you never buy the big three books, Marvel, DC, and Image. Yet you talk about them based on past offenses. He put offenses in quotes.
Can I read
Have you read any of their books lately? Actually,
can I run that whole clip, Daphne?
Go right ahead.
ready, Artful. Here we go.
Daphne, do we have something we want to add to this?
Yeah.
Stop sucking that dick. Let it go. It's DC and Marvel. Let it go.
They stop sucking that dick.
Dylan, I hope you were old enough to hear that.
Fucking cheers.
It comes down to I've read a few recently, and they're bloody crap, most of them.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
So,
I don't talk about it often, but yes, Artful, I still do buy Marvel on DC books, the ones that I'm interested in, and that interest is waning. And I ask you this: have you bought any lately? Because the people doing all that cheerleading usually don't have the money to go to the stores and buy the books. And I know this because I know store owners who I go to the store so much I can walk behind the counter, I can take a seat and sit down and talk shop, and they tell me business sucks. 3 different shops spaced out have told me business is not as good as it was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago.
It's one of those dealers, retailers not too long ago, when they were talking about the new Heroes Reborn event that Marvel was doing, is that they're selling more variant covers than they have fans to buy them.
Yeah.
And recently, DC. I mean, it was. I don't know who it was. I think it was the guy that was the head of DC before he went a little while ago. DDL. Yeah, he was actually saying, "Look, I don't know what's going on, but people are buying back issues. They're buying reprints more than they're buying the current copies."
And you saw how long he kept his job after he said that too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in answer to the question directly to this channel, there are lots of channels that go out there and talk about.
Yeah, I was about to ask. It's like, are they not enough channels out there already obsessively talking about Marvel and DC to your specifications? I mean,
but if they're not complaining about the product that they're doing for being as substandard as it is,
right?
The only other channels out there are talking about which variant cover is going to be worth more than which variant cover.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because the quality and the interior of them books have waned so badly that's the only type of collectability you have anymore. It's the guy that's chasing the 1 in 25 variant.
Right.
But there are a couple of
collector.
channels. There are a couple of channels out there on YouTube that will go in depth into what's going on with current storylines and what have you. And if you're interested, go find those channels.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, they're there.
You know, they are there, but it's like I don't know. I don't actually perceive the
Most
big
of them
two
aren't
as being particularly current.
Yeah, most of them aren't as entertaining as us anyway.
Yeah, they're not actually talking to a mass market anymore.
No, they're not. Haven't for years.
Well, and then the thing is, people complain. I've seen this. Well, have you read Marvel and DC lately? Have you, MFer? I haven't seen you. You just got to complaining that you can't spend $10 on a meal at Chick-fil-A. So I know you ain't buying comics. I know you're not. Don't complain to me. Don't you lying bastard. Anyway.
I mean, it's like, look, you know, if you want discussions about Marvel and DC, there's plenty of channels out there that'll scratch that itch. If you want to hear people talk about independent comics and dick jokes, you're in the right place. We're here to put
the fun back in funny books, and right now the mainstream isn't having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
It's not fun. That's the whole point.
It's all marketing to death.
Comics should be fun. Comics are for everyone. Comics can be anything. Comics can do anything.
Yeah.
But the ones that personally I like are the ones that I go to get away from everything from. They're fantasy. They're fun.
Yes.
I just want to enjoy myself in a comic.
Yeah.
I don't want to be lectured. I don't want to see a documentary. I don't want to talk about today's politics. And don't get me wrong, politics have their place in comics. I am not saying they don't.
Right.
They absolutely do. All I want to do, though, in the comics that I read is be entertained. That's my personal opinion. And that's personally why I make comics.
Right. I mean, the funny thing is, I was on a show, I think a couple of weeks ago, where I got asked what I thought was an interesting question. And I was asked, I was like, so is your book like, you know, do you deal with like modern problems? I mean, even though it's a fantasy book, do you like deal with modern problems and modern politics and things like that? And I go no, it's like it's like, you know, and I laughed because it's like, I knew what she was talking about. And I was like going, no, it's like, I deal with universal themes, you know, because I don't feel the need to be ham-fisted about anything. It's like, it's not a book like that. It's like, there's plenty of themes that we can all relate to as a species that I don't need to get specific. So, I mean, the fact that she even had to ask that is like, tells me, it's like, wow, what's the state of comics that you're picking up?
Why do you? Why? Just why? That's the thing.
Yes.
Why does every form of entertainment have to have a damn message in it?
It's the same with with television, isn't it? Where if you watch a soap or anything just for a bit of downtime, chewing gum, if you like, it's full of public announcements about teenage pregnancy and dying drugs, and all sorts of stuff, drugs, and all this stuff, and it just gets really boring. You might as well just go outside your front door. And
I mean, it's like, it used to be a joke when 80s cartoons would be like, I learned something today. I mean, that was a running joke, and there are people who actually want to go back to that.
However, you know what? I will say this. I didn't care. Like, my parents tell me, hey, don't go outside talking to strangers. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I won't. However, when He-Man told me not to do it, I listened because He-Man had my ear. I gotta say, he was like, hey, don't take your dumb ass outside to that nasty ass guy selling candy out the back of his truck. He's gonna take you. Okay? Gonna take you.
I think there's a difference. There's a difference between kids' cartoons, that have solid, sensible, common sense messaging in them, and trying to get your audience to think the way you think, otherwise they are evil. There's two different. They're like this,
Also, it's like, look, not for nothing. He-Man was for babies. Okay, are you a baby? Do you need baby messaging? It's like for something that's aimed at adults.
I just have to point out that 3/4 of the audience have now been triggered.
Right.
The other quarter
let
is
me tell
going,
you something.
oh yeah,
Let me tell you something.
absolutely.
It's like if we're learning our morality from children's cartoons, then they better find that episode of My Little Pony that forgot to mention that it's not a good idea to shoot up a FedEx depot.
Yeah.
So talking about learning morality from children's cartoons, okay?
I you know what though? Like when you were a child, that was okay, and it was weird how they would mix that in. Like,
oh hey, when I was a child, the big lesson was protect your planet and kill all intruders. That was Herculoids right there. Keep your zoo. Keep everybody happy. If a foreign body comes in, they must be removed.
Must be.
You never watched any of the Herculoids? You need to watch that.
Weren't those foreign bodies communists though from Soviet Union?
Well, that was part of the scare. Yeah,
I thought Herculoids was something you needed cream from the doctor for.
Oh, you're funny.
You know my problem.
You've never seen the Herculoids? Come on.
My problem.
What's your problem, Daphne? Come on.
But you know what? Scarface didn't have a moral at the end.
No.
Scarface didn't tell me that his behavior was not really good for people.
Scarface was all moral.
Yeah, trust me. All those, listen, every mafia movie has a moral at the end.
They didn't tell me that specifically, though. They expected me to infer that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I knew a lot of people that would watch the movies and do like this. See, that's where he fucked up. See, right there. Right. If he wouldn't have went, that's where he fucked up. That's what he should. If he would have kept his ass in food and beverage, none of this would have happened.
He used more than he was selling, and he broke his own rule.
When he was diving in the mountains, the mountains of cocaine, you knew there was a problem.
Yeah.
Which is why I hope that one day they find me just mountains of low grade cocaine just spread out.
It also it's like, to go back to the question though. I mean, the thing is though, it's like Marvel and DC just really hold no interest for me. So I'm familiar with it enough to know the history and to
there's a Herculoids
which is
I have never seen an image more offensive in my life.
All designed by a little known artist named Alex Toth.
Yeah.
I like
those were
It's about a family and their zoo of unique animals.
Are they Bubba Puppas or something in the sense?
It's Gloop and Gleep.
Goop and Gloop, yeah, exactly. They're like little jelly people.
I don't think we got that in the UK.
They were Malibu peeps back then.
What is that ape-like creature?
That's how they talk.
That noise.
Aren't you glad, Rush, you didn't get that?
I missed out.
The ape character is Igu. Igu is a rock ape. Yeah, Tundro is the rhinoceros.
Shot rocks out of his horns.
He shot rocks out of his horns. Yeah. Gloop and Gleep stretched all over the place and were a big pillow or a parachute or whatever they needed.
Yeah.
And Zok was the dragon here that shot blasts out of his eyes, and when he absolutely had to, he would whip up his tail and shoot another one out of the back, out of the end of his tail.
I could hear this thing in my head.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Now that guy just has a shield, no offensive weapon.
No.
No
well, they didn't want to. They didn't. You got to remember that they couldn't really show violence.
Oh no, they could. This was,
but it was kind of
right as the comic or the cartoons were extremely violent. I mean, the animals could most anything that invaded the planet they were on were robotic, so they'd smash them together and throw them all over the place. Xandar there, who's the guy with the shield, the dad, he would always jump off of his they lived in like a giant plant mushroom home type thing, and he'd bounce around a bunch of strings before he went out to fight the menace. I
was more of a Thundar girl myself.
So
I was long after this. Yeah.
Let me understand the family dynamic here real quick. So the man in front, he's the man that the blonde one back there is his wife.
Yes.
And the child there.
Yes.
Is that a boy?
Yeah.
Boy?
Yes.
And that's his son.
Yes.
Now, okay, I'm glad we have a redhead here with us. Mike, can you tell me what happens, sir, when a redhead man should enjoy the lesser activities of a blonde-haired woman? What should happen to the child?
it
Well-
can go two ways. It can go two ways. Either the person actually gets like the kid gets born blonde and gets a darker hair as they grow up,
Mhm.
or it goes the other way around.
Mm.
And
Or-
either way,
or-
you're gonna have a red beard. Trust me.
Or there's a mailman somewhere where
That's right. It seems that a foreign body has invaded his wife. While he was watching out for the planet, a foreign body was invading his wife.
Well, you don't know that because you haven't seen the kid grow up. So that's all.
Right.
It just genetically. Besides, they're all aliens. So who knows?
Oh,
But-
alien DNA.
But you know, the point I wanted to make though is that before we got enthusiastically sidetracked, is that if Marvel and DC don't interest me as companies, so no, I don't pick them up. But the thing is though, it doesn't affect my ability to do my comics. I mean, it's like, yes, I appreciate the history. I appreciate access to like the different art styles and things that I do learn from. But as companies in and of itself, their products have no meaning to me whatsoever, especially now. So.
Especially since they took the last 5 years telling you they're not making these books for you.
So well, that's fine. Actually, for me, as you know, just to bring this up really quick, we don't have to go into it. As a female comic book fan, they've been telling me that for decades. So it's like, you know what? It's like, that's fine. That's fine. I don't need you. So I'm already used to this.
Yeah, and what's really funny, not funny, but sad, is that these companies intentionally chased off female readership in order to get to aim at a more male demographic. They used to do books like Young Romance up here and all sorts of female-oriented products. In fact, we were talking with Trina Robbins.
Yeah,
she pointed out.
I love that interview.
That
was awesome.
Thank you. I never realized that Timely had gone out of their way to aim at a female audience with a number of titles at once, and that they were selling really good. I mean, they weren't knocking back in the 50s. If they were to have those numbers today, they'd be incredible hits. But back in the 50s, they were okay titles. But Timely was still making enough money off of them to keep doing them.
I mean, do you know how much you have to alienate me to completely ignore all your Rocket Raccoon series? You know, I mean, that's pretty much what it boiled down to. It's like where they came out with several Rocket Raccoon series, and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
No Howard?
No Howard. No, not even Howard. It's like I was like, nah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Howard was
too little, too late for me.
Literally an odd duck.
Yeah.
In the mix. That was Steve Gerber, though. Steve was an incredibly esoteric writer.
Yeah,
but that's it's all like. I never grew up with superheroes. It's not my thing. So, you know, I didn't grow into it. And like being European, like I'm only known, like I'm really familiar with Franco-Belgian comics. And even now, even if like I pick up one of those books, I go, yeah, it's a superhero. It's not for me. Like, yeah, I'll maybe have 22 pages of fun. But in the end, like I'll grab an Asterix or a Tintin or whatever,
yeah, exactly.
and I will have a lot more fun and a lot more relatability than I have met with like 99% of those superheroes.
Yeah, that's the reason I started, you know, picking up Franco-Belgian comics too, because it's like that was more. I was finding more that I was interested in, and because I didn't understand the language, it's like, well, if they're being dopey, I don't know. So, I just enjoy the hell out of them. You know? Yeah.
Just look at the drawings.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, yes, and like especially like you can see it in Daphne style and myself as well. Like the Franco-Belgian comics are miles away from what you're used to in American comics. And I'm really surprised to see
those comics have been pared down since the 50s.
Yes, exactly.
They hit a specific demographic, slowly just whittling down to the point where I used to produce a large line of comics with the last set of Arrow, and I had Diamond literally telling me what I could and could not produce.
Yeah.
For their perceived market. They didn't want the market to have that choice. They didn't want the market to stretch. And it was an incredibly rare gem when you had a product that did that, when you had an ElfQuest or you had a Bone that popped out there and said, look, boom, market's bigger than what you imagine. Oh, no, it's not. Wham.
Right
back to superheroes. Yeah. And hopefully with the alternative and independence, you're going to see that. You're seeing that stretch out a lot.
Booming. It's really booming. The last 10 years, I've been, able to pick up books that from creators that have been doing this for ages, and the styles are either a lot more Franco-Belgian or French-Canadian, because that's a really big one too that a lot of people forget about. That from American creators, and American creators here are pretty small. We know the names from the Marvel movies, and those are doing well, but it's not what we're interested in. It's the narrow market that we happily avoided because we had everything else.
Yeah. Well, nowadays the big mainstream companies go out of their way to chase away that recognizability, which is much to their detriment. I mean, that you go to a comic shop wanting to read more about Wakanda and Black Panther, and you get Black Panther in New York or in space or whatever, and Siri's a completely different looking character, and Iron Man's been replaced by a African-American female or completely different person, or Miles Morales is running around. You don't know who the heck he is until you see the Spider-Verse movie. And it's ridiculous on their part, because it's like they're pushing away all of that money and all of the recognition factor, all of that branding. They don't want to have anything to do with it, because they need to be working on somebody completely different and confusing the consumer that goes walking into that.
The bizarre thing is if they were to keep that recognition, that long-term recognition, and use it to build an audience that they could then add more diverse characters to, that they could end and add a new roster of characters to that were written well, that weren't about swapping identities. Yes, that they would actually build a bigger audience for the new characters as well. Yeah. You don't need to destroy something else to make something new good.
And on the other side of the spectrum, I'm sure Glenn put a big smile on his face when he found out the New Gods movie was put into turnaround.
Yeah,
because that movie was going to be a disaster.
Good.
Compared to the original material.
I've said it before. Just film Jack's pages. Use them as a storyboard and
put some music on and some get somebody to voice it over the top. Yeah,
and at the beginning put Jack Kirby presents.
They could do it like those old Captain America and Hulk cartoons where they did the cutout figures.
Hey, there is a lot of charm in those cartoons.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, that was
Captain
it for
America
me.
throws his mighty shield.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.
You know what? Somebody remastered those in 4K at I think was it 60 frames per second, and it just doesn't feel right when I look at them. Like it's
not right.
I actually saw something on that just a couple of days ago, and the reason it doesn't look right is because the artistic choice of the animator got taken out. Your eyes look at 24 frames a second. That's the normal rate, but you can choose to do it in twos, so you have 12 frames a second, so it all looks a little more janky, and it feels like you're much more like a cartoon, especially the older ones. And by re-rendering it and remastering it to 60 frames per second, first of all, the technology they use, have no idea how that works for animation, and two, it doesn't look right. It really doesn't.
But it was so cool as a kid though to see, because they literally took the Kirby panel and animated it. You know, they would move they'd move the sound effect. They'd swing the shield from left to right so that you saw that there was motion there. They'd just slightly animate Thor's hammer. They'd keep his hand up, and they'd have the little spinning thing animated, but everything else was right straight out of the comic.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and it looked cool, but like the newer one when they remastered that old footage, it just seemed odd. Like Mike was saying, it
would have to, yeah.
Because it wasn't meant to be that. I mean, it's like, look, Peter Jackson tried that with live action movie, doing the 60 frames per for whatever, and he had to scrap that because people were like going, oh, that is just way too weird, and people were having a really hard time processing it. Hey,
for our radio audience, we are now joined by Mark Darden. Mark, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Mark Darden, the creator of the Guano Guy. So I do a fun, silly comic, and I come on a lot of comic shows and just try to hang out, spread joy.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, awesome. Yesterday's winner of Pitches Be Crazy.
Oh, congratulations!
Awesome. Yeah. Now we also realized that Mark's campaign hasn't launched yet. So when his campaign does launch, we're gonna back it. That's what we do. Back when you win, we back your campaign up to $50. So if you got a tier that's $50, that's the one we back. So the winner of it gets something, and sometimes. Yeah. So sometimes the loser gets something too. We had someone who lost here with us as well. They were. You picked up a backer. You picked up a backer that show, so it wasn't all. No.
It was awesome. I mean, I had fun.
Mm-hmm.
I actually misheard you completely because Max and Mike were very close together. So I completely misheard, and I thought for a second I won because I was like in my head, like it did, but it didn't match up. Yeah. Then I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna just be enthusiastic for this guy too.
Yeah. Mark won with a Tony Montana impression. That's what blew everybody out the water.
Oh, well, look at that.
The thing about Pitches Be Crazy, you have to pitch your book, and you're giving a theme to pitch it with. So it could be anything. Like pitch your book like Macho Man Randy Savage. Pitch your book like Bob Ross.
Yeah.
And he got pitch your book like Tony Montana. And
I don't even know who Tony Montana is.
Godfather. I really Godfather.
Scarface.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You were just talking about Scarface.
Yeah.
No, I know the film. I've never seen it.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I don't blame you.
We were watching Goodfellas yesterday.
Randy, can I show the winning? What got him over the top? Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, hold on real quick. Let me cue it up.
I haven't watched Goodfellas in a long time.
Let me cue this up. I'm not showing Goodfellas.
Do I amuse you?
They do nice pizza.
Yeah, I was telling friends about it, and they were like, "What happens?" I'm like, "You go on, you tell people about your book."
It's like, yeah, but
you don't know how you're going to tell them about your book.
Here we go.
With all due respect. All right, Mark, you're up. Come on, Mark.
All right, you need to go out and get it. It's a great book. You like comedy? It's a funny book. You gotta go out. You gotta get the book. This one, this guy, he goes out in the city. And sometimes he'll fight a crime. That's not important, okay? Then you gotta get the interview. You gotta get people lined up. You gotta get them buying protection money. He's about the protection money, the advertising, the business. You gotta keep the business going. You understand? You get what I'm saying? You get out there, you go do it.
Wow! Bravo, sir! Bravo!
And not a single
Bravo!
Wow!
Yeah, he didn't get an X or anything, so that's pretty much to push him over the top. That one, right?
That would do it. Yeah, that would
yeah.
do it.
Wow!
Well done, sir.
It's also a little Todd McFarlane.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Yeah. You needed a more Canadian accent for that.
Yeah. You gotta go out. You gotta get the book,
If you did Todd McFarlane, you'd have to do the same thing 50 times.
Right.
Sorry, Todd.
Point for Glenn.
Todd Father, I backed your campaign. I got several spawns. They're wonderful. That you threw in tons of cool stuff.
Yeah.
We're just getting around.
Yeah, blame Glenn.
Send all email to Glenn at Gmail.
Todd's got a sense of humor.
Rob Liefeld right now is rolling on the floor.
Yeah.
Banging, just laughing his head up.
They're not laughing about me for once. Yay!
Rob's a regular listener to the program. So.
Rob's a ruffle Rob.
I've been surprised how many times Rob has actually answered my tweets. And I'm like, holy crap.
That's because he knows who you are.
Maybe by now, yeah. He's like, it's that guy
Rob knows who you are.
What? Only that guy? Nobody cares.
Yeah. He's like, that guy's bothering me again. Someone said he had a slingshot. Was that out? Did he? Are you sure he didn't have a slingshot, Randy? Something to fight monsters with?
Herculoids guy, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He had a slingshot, and the kid had a slingshot too.
Wasn't his kid, but okay.
Alex Toth made Charizard,
the Pokemon. Yeah, the Pokemon.
It does like Charizard. It does.
Yeah.
It does. That looks like Charizard.
Yeah, that's true.
I
wouldn't be surprised if there was
have a sling.
They may owe Alex some money.
Can do. Alex made no money off of that. He was always ashamed of his Hanna-Barbera work and never realized its importance to a lot of creators growing up until very late in his career. In fact, there's a story of Alex Ross, who sat and painted a realistic version of all of his characters and took it to his house and was so proud of it. And Alex told him to get it the F out of his house. These characters are shit. Why are you doing this to shit? Don't do that.
It's really funny. It's so rough. I mean, it's like it took me a while to really like be able to look back at old artwork and go, you know what? This is who I was at that time.
Yeah.
Well, I have to respect the arc that came out from that. Yeah. I mean, it's tough, but at the same time, it's like looking at old high school photos.
Yeah, he never grasped the importance of it, though. Yeah. To him, it was a gig. He was working for Hanna-Barbera to do character designs and villain designs, and that's what he did. I mean, he'd go home for a weekend and come back with the whole second wave of Super Friends and go, here you go, Black Vulcan, Apache Chief. I just pulled these out. Here you are. Boom, take them. Space Ghost. But if you go back and you look, like they kicked out, and he felt so little about his art, though he did keep photocopies of every character sheet that he did. Daryl McNeil was a regular visitor to his house and was going through his file cabinets and saw all these old photocopies and asked if he could put them together into a book. And Alex went, that shit? Do you think somebody's going to want to buy that? Go ahead.
Wow.
So he threw them all together. He threw them all together into a book, paperback book, and sold it to the direct market, only 10,000 copies. And he called it Alex Toth in Design. And he pointed out that these character sheets that he did were a wonder of simplicity, because Toth knew that he had literally, and he wrote about this a lot in the letters that he exchanged back and forth. He had a bunch of monkeys that were working at drawing boards that he had to, he had to simplify everything down to the simplicity of the characters so that anybody could draw it. So that's what he did. But his art was literally in the fact that he was able to do that. You look at Space Ghost, and it's a phenomenal example of minimalist work: black, white, yellow, red. That's it. And they kicked that book out, and it went like that. Like everybody bought the thing. Hanna-Barbera went and sent him a cease and desist and told him to never do that again.
Oh, interesting.
That book jumped up to like $300 a piece on eBay. You still see it every once in a while. Somebody was trying to sell the cover for a couple thousand. IDW just recently, when they kicked out their big hardbound versions of Toth, did an entire volume on those character sheets, but they didn't reprint all of them. So the InDesign books got, a good amount more than what's in that IDW book. But they're amazing to sit and look at because of the fact that he literally stripped everything down. That's where he really got a sense of negative space that he brought over to Bravo for adventure, and a lot of his other work was because he was working just to kick this stuff out. He was getting paid by the character sheet, by the design. And you go and you look at all of those superhero characters that were created in the 60s, Birdman, Mighty Mightor, Space Ghost, and all of that in that era, that's all Toth. All of the villains that came out of that, and even in most of the humor stuff, like Josie and the Pussycats in Outer Space, all the ship designs and all the villains were all Toth. And you sit there and you look at them, and the design work on them is phenomenal. Just crazy, imaginative stuff. And for Toth, he just figured it was nothing. He was just getting paid a check, and
Well,
it was all garbage work for garbage pay. That's what he figured.
Wow. I mean, I think also it's like that has a lot to do with how he probably like viewed the entire industry.
Oh yeah.
You know, and how he just felt like he was just being ground up into paste. So why,
Yeah, why bother? Just kick this stuff out. But that's where the genius of his work was. And it's the same thing with the Silver and the Bronze Age artists that are out there in comics, the people that had really individual styles that were doing their stuff for a page rate. You go back and look at John Buscema, you look at Jack Kirby, you look at these people, and they are phenomenal artists because they're incredibly good at what they do, not just because they kicked out so many pages that they could do it in their sleep, but because they had their own individual design sense that they worked off, from their brain to their pencil. You go and you look at Frank Robbins and Alex Toth's another prime example. His comic book work is amazing. Kirby and Buscema and all this very individual work, very workhorse work, though at the same time, chunk, always out there. One of the few artists today that I would compare that to is Walt Simonson, who has his own individual look, his own individual style, and everything is visually unique, that you can't, every time you see something by Simonson, it's Simonson.
That's the aim. That's what you got. That's what you want to do. You start off your career as an artist trying to do what other people do, and it's very good practice. But you must end your career as people going, that's
Yes,
that's by that artist.
I think your style will always come through in the end, or should do.
Yeah,
but it's got to do, But
Ditko, Remita, the same way. That you can't help it. You look at a piece and you go, "Oh, Gil Kane is another prime one." You look at it and it's unmistakable. That's Gil Kane. That's awesome.
I mean, it applies to the Incas as well. I don't know about you guys.
That's true.
I can tell Frank Giacoy and Joe Sinnott and Dick Ayers and these people.
I mean, look at the people that Joe Sinnott inked. And he made them all look the same. Well, not the same, but he gave them
like Joe Sinnott.
He made them all consistent.
Look at Tom Palmer. Yeah, Tom Palmer. No matter who it was, he always inked as Tom Palmer.
Right. Yeah. Because there's a huge difference between something being consistent and something being homogenized. Which especially nowadays, I especially feel it's more important for us to stand out, because that whole. It's like there's such a trend in every piece of media to be as homogenous as possible, like the McDonald's burger of media. Like no matter what you watch, no matter where you watch it, you always know what to expect. And
around here too, even in the fast food architecture, you get that everything's a mitered box now. They went and they took off the fancy roofs and what really made these fast food places unique by their construction. Now they all look the same. It's the same box, different color tones, but it's the same freaking box. And it's really dull.
Yeah.
It's the same in the music business, isn't it? With all these bands, everybody's
very much so.
There was an interesting guy the other day on our radio, and he was talking about the football, the soccer. And Russ might know about this. There's been a bit of a dispute about this change in the league and all this kind of thing. And the guy on the interview was maybe not. The guy on the interview was saying that this chairman he was talking about, this football club, would have replaced John Lennon with Ollie Murs.
Yeah,
because of the. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's gone down like a lead balloon. But you understand what I mean?
I mean, it's this overarching requirement for all of entertainment and leisure to be about
mediocre.
Money, and only money, and it creates an environment where everything is mediocre. because
Right.
nobody takes a risk anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody takes a chance. Nobody tries to do something different, which is why some of what we've seen with Marvel and DC, with the way that they've chosen certain aspects of their to change their heroes, instead of being brave enough to say, let's take a chance, let's do something new and really bring something new to the audiences and grow their audiences. And it's this lack of ability and courage to take chances and just think about the bottom line of money, which is sapping the creative industries at the moment.
Well,
and exactly why is it Anthony? We answered right at the start. I think it was Anthony. I can't remember exactly why we talk more about independent comics than we talk about mainstream. Because the mainstream ones, for the most part, not all of them, there are still gems out there, but for the most part are lacking in the same kind of creative buzz that's going on in the independent community. Because
and there's a huge difference.
Also,
there's a huge difference between appealing to the masses and dealing with the lowest common denominator.
Yes,
I create art. I don't create content. That's what this is. This is not content.
People who wrote, exactly. Like authors don't write books; they create stories. And that's what they should. That it's not about what the container is. It's about what you're doing.
It's about the art. This is what John Lennon and Paul McCartney did 50, 60 years ago. They said, we can't write another song like that. We have to keep moving forward.
Exactly.
Two reasons. One, because they were so creative, they had to do that. And the other reason was that they didn't want to get left behind and just be that one-hit wonder or two-hit wonder. And we all know what the Beatles did,
keep moving forward.
They all wanted to be Elvis Presley. But were better than he was in their way.
Not only that, but they were competitive with each other. Each one was trying to outdo the next, which just added to their art. You look at the stuff that George Harrison did, especially after he left the Beatles, where he's like, okay, I can beat all of you. Boom.
I can do what I like.
That's the best stuff he wrote in his whole career.
Trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator does not get you Sgt. Pepper's.
No,
exactly.
It does not.
No. And that's the whole point, isn't it? And there's in a microcosm what Randy just explained there about the artists competing with each other. It doesn't have to be a nasty competition. It's healthy competition. And by competition, you push up the bar. You're constantly pushing up the standard. If only pushing up your own standard. You're pushing up the standard with competition.
I do have a question for you guys real quick. Beatles related. Who is your favorite Beatle and why is it George Harrison? The man got my mind set on you. Mark, you're muted. You're muted, Mark. Mark, you're muted.
Mark, you're muted. Unmute yourself. You're still muted. Maybe you just want to be muted.
I kind of agree with you. Best solo album, for sure. All Things Must Pass. But while I hated him as a kid, as an adult, I love Paul McCartney's music. It's just happy and there's good things about life. And I used to think that's lame, man. And then I'm like, you know what? Why not strive for that? That makes a lot of sense. And John Lennon, meanwhile, clearly always an artist. He was a great artist in the Beatles, then went solo. He's got the most solo albums that I like. George Harrison has the best ones that I like, but John Lennon has the most I like. Unless I'm feeling happy, and then I want to listen to Paul.
George Harrison made Got My Mind Set on You. That's it. That is it.
That's the best song
for you.
Human history.
For you,
you've not heard much
according to history.
I like more Ringo's more whimsical songs.
Who's Ringo?
Ringo was barely a Beatle.
To be fair, Ringo did manage to have quite the string of singles and chart-topping success. He had a lot of help from friends.
Produced by George Harrison.
Well, that's
produced by George Harrison. George Harrison, you know what? And the guy from the ELO as well.
There's a famous story that they'd always ask Ringo to go for lunch or something, and then they'd lay down the drum track.
Well, John Lennon,
on a lot of their songs.
Yeah, John Lennon said that Ringo wasn't the best drummer in the Beatles,
but he was the best Beatle. No, that's how they described him.
Sat down in a drum battle that he wouldn't win it. Come on, that was being overly mean.
Yeah.
The best,
I mean,
the best Beatle is Paul McCartney.
well, yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree on that.
I think the best Beatle are the Beatles.
Paul McCartney did a song with Kanye. I don't know.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you one. There's many reasons, but there's one reason why Paul McCartney is the best Beatle, and this is it. Back in 1964, right, 64, when they were sort of a year old in terms of chart topping, John Lennon was going to leave, and Paul McCartney persuaded him not to.
And then he was replaced with a double.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Of course. Yes.
Billy Shears.
Yeah. Oh dear. Never mind.
I do have a friend.
Earworms I have right now.
Oh, I have a friend who's
We'll have him the rest of the day.
Yeah.
He's terrified of
worse.
the song Yellow Submarine. He's
What, the
terrified
film?
of it.
The film.
The film, yeah, he's terrified
It's
of it.
quite. It was quite a scary film if you're a kid.
Best animated
Yes,
film
it was.
ever,
Those blue meanies were terrible.
Yeah.
Those blue
Yeah.
meanies were scary. Yeah, definitely.
And that glove guy who was around.
Argentina.
It was always cool that Ringo had a hole in his pocket, though.
Yeah.
He could whip out at any time. That was ingenious.
That was probably some type of metaphor.
look, a hole.
How much money they were hemorrhaging. That's funny.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a hole.
They didn't lose as much money as Magical Mystical Tour. That was their big dog, right? When it was out, I Am the Walrus. Cuckoo's
Magical
Cute.
Mystery Tour, yeah.
Yeah.
I've
The
heard
movie that is.
to bring that back though to comics though. I've heard, and I keep seeing it, that the Image guys were the Beatles of comics.
No, they're not.
No. Heck
No, they're not.
Holy
No,
crap.
they're not.
Image. The Image guys are the Oasis of comics.
I would think that that's more accurate. Yeah.
The Beatles of comics. The Beatles of comics were probably the Bronze Age guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Golden Age are back to Haley and the Rockets and Elvis. They're
I would even go so far to say that Image was kind of like the police of comics.
Maybe.
Fighting each other.
Maybe.
As somebody who loves Image and Oasis, I'm like, that gels pretty good with me.
Yeah. As long as there's a lot of fist fighting, then that's who they are.
Apparently there was a lot.
They made a lot of good stuff I like, and there was a bunch of people before them that they.
And several of them were arseholes.
Continue to be.
If I can,
on that note, bring something up?
Sure.
So there was this book. This is the first half of, and a bunch of people got together during this whole crazy pandemic thing, and it kicked off from Ed Piskor having an idea that he threw out, and a bunch of fans got together and actually went and made the thing and made this giant Image Comics love letter. And what I just showed was the first half of it, and I popped a link where people can go grab it. The only thing we're doing is raising money for the Hero Fund, but a lot of people put a lot of work in, did a lot of great art. It's crazy good how good the art is coming in, where this is just fan project. And there's actually a follow-up that's going to come in a few weeks that's Grand Disaster, where there's a lot of wild stories in there and a lot more good art. But
it's a digital comic, right? Available for $5. All the money goes to the Hero Initiative, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that all goes to Hero.
And it's a massive crossover between the Image properties.
Yeah.
And other alternative books.
Yeah, anything that touched them.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
If you appeared in one thing, you were fair game. You had to be connected to Image, but as long as you were. And it's between the two books, it's over 300 pages. And it was
that's awesome.
It was all done for COVID year.
You had a physical edition.
Well, only for that was
your
just
proof
like a
that-
private
Right.
for the people that worked on it.
Okay.
You need to hold that up again.
Oh, yeah, sure. But yeah, you can't get this. I'm sorry. You can just do the.
Yeah.
Unless
you can get the digital version of it, though.
Unless we go
online,
to
right?
house.
Yeah.
Then we can get one.
But the physical one was just for the creators, those of us that worked on it.
Is there a reason for that? Like a questionable copyright issue or something?
What?
Or that you
what are you talking about? Back to like love and happiness and helping out hero fun and fun and creativity.
Yeah.
Come on.
I've seen this around. I've been wondering what it was. So now you've explained it to me because I was too lazy to read. You think owning a news organization, that would be one of my top priorities? But I'm like, reading?
That requires comprehension.
I
I
have to comprehend. I have to read between the lines. I have to do some actual research.
And so I threw up the link to the book, and I also threw up the link to the review. The review is a ton of fun to watch from Cartoonist Kayfabe.
Where did you throw that review? Where did you throw those links up to?
And the over in the private chat.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a crazy amount of fan work that was put together.
Can you throw that in the regular chat, Varian?
Sure.
And it was really cool how much people like leaned on each other. It was a big thing for a lot of people. We just had like a giant like powwow emotional pep talk last night. It was people just getting together after all this work that was done, and how much it just meant a lot to us. It's a ton of people who love Image or people who really found out about Image.
That is as strong as I've ever seen Rick Grimes look, by the way. That is a Rick Grimes that will not F with.
Yeah.
That Rick
You
Grimes.
believe the whole group was going to listen to that guy when he wandered out of the hospital?
Yeah, I'd have been like, yes, sir. Where are we going? I see that burial chest and
zombies there. We're going here. I'm right behind you. Unless you want me to be in front of you.
But it's Image Grand Design, soon to be followed by Image Grand Disaster.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. And it's just a ton of fun fan stories. And I think anybody that loved Image will, of course, enjoy reading this stuff. I mean, there's hilarious meta stuff that if you don't know the comics, it's still funny, but it ain't funny the way it would be if you did. But if you missed out on Image, this is going to be a real good, like, condensed wrap up, putting it all together as if it was like all together from the get-go. So you get a really good look at it. Also, hopefully it helps comic stores, because hopefully people do take a look, read this, and then like, oh, there really was some good stuff to go back and look at.
It won't be, Image has always been a company that they're pretty progressive. It'll be too long before they say, you know what? Let's print that book for everybody. Let's print it. Let's print it as a one-off book. And they've done it before. They've gone out and made changes to what they were going to do. So
you never know.
Bring this on into the fold.
But right now, this is available for $5 digitally off of what is that? ComicLionProductions.com. Cosmic with an S.
That's all just for the Hero Fund.
And it all goes to the Hero Fund. Yes.
Donation
Hero Initiative. Fund. Yep. And if you're not aware of the Hero Initiative, anybody out there, and we talk a lot about the funny side of comics and these great workhorse artists that are out there. A lot of these guys were working solely on a work for hire basis. And they have no medical benefits. They have no retirement. The Hero Initiative is out there to help the people that are these artists that are truly struggling, to help them get by and cover some of their medical bills and to do whatever they can in order to ease their way of life as a way of saying thanks for all of this great work that they did for so many years for these larger companies. So the Hero Initiative is really a worthy cause out there for you to contribute to, even if you're not buying a 150-page Image book digitally for only $5.
Yeah, that's a good price.
That's a phenomenal price.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You couldn't get any of the companies to do that.
No.
You could donate
they would sell a PDF for $25.
That's just a nice little donation to help out off of
the initiative. Yep.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, and because it's a donation, I mean, can it, like, say I wanted to buy, like, say, okay, the book, the PDF is $5, but here's $10 instead.
Yeah.
Does it work like that too? Like, I could put in my own donation.
Well, the initiative is always open for contributions. Yeah. You can always go and search for Hero Initiative, and I'm sure there's some sort of tip jar on their site for you to send contributions to.
Can I brag on one of the stories?
You absolutely can.
There was one that I read, and it's so hilariously meta. It was so perfect. It's literally just Dracula standing outside of his castle, just sitting there. And he literally like, hello? Yes, this is Dracula. Wet works? Sure, I'll fight you. Meet me outside my castle.
Okay, yeah.
That's like, right. Yeah, that's why Image Comics are not the Beatles. that's why.
And there's, as you can get in comic, there's a long panels of him just, these guys.
We are quickly approaching the top of the hour. We have a lot of people here, and I literally have to cut this off right at 11 o'clock. So
the lever is gonna hit any second.
Mark, tell folks how they can find you.
Mark Darden on Facebook, or you can follow just the Guano Guy on Facebook if you just want updates about what's going on with the Guano Guy comic book. But if you want to follow me, Mark Darden on Facebook. Both those work well. I'm pretty active on Facebook. That's where I hang out and chat with lots of people. So that's the spot. And
should be happy it wasn't Youngblood that called him.
And Varian mentioned it earlier, but I got a Guano Guy campaign that launches on the 27th. So just a couple days. My next very ridiculous book. But much more about this. This was
it's Image
really
Grand Design.
Book. Yeah, Image Grand Design, Image Grand Disaster. So many people contributed and poured in a lot of labor of love.
You're going to need to stop showing that book. So many people are going to figure out where you live, and
you can't get it. So
we can get yours
and get it digitally. You can get it digitally for only $5.
I gotta get a whole new. You know how people slab their comic? I gotta get a much thicker slab that also concretes into the wall.
They'll be treating that comic the WWE 24/7 title.
I don't have the code to open that thing.
That could be the next cancel
during the day, and I have to contact 5 people. And
that could be the next canceled Comics Cavalcade collection.
Can you imagine somebody all of a sudden you meet a woman who's like head over heels for you, and you find out like 20 years later she's been waiting for you to get sick so she can get that comic. No, it's all been a lie. It's all been a lie.
Wasn't that an episode of CSI or something? One of those Law and Order ones.
Sincerely don't doubt it.
The one with D'Onofrio in it. I think that there was one where there was a woman who was like a fan, like a scammy fangirl, and she would hook up in different fandoms to like steal like rare editions and things like that.
Don't give anybody any ideas, Daphne.
I don't mean to bust your plot any, but she literally could probably just offer and thus acquire.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what she did.
It would be far more direct and legal and a lot less complicated and quicker.
Oh yes,
Mike.
It was.
Mike, how can people find you, Mike?
You can find me on Indiegogo with Love and Cora. We're going to fulfill in a couple of weeks. You can find me on Twitter at _ents. I'm most active there. You can find me on Facebook as Mike Jimmy Lorcia de Bruin. That's a mouthful, I know. And I'm always around, always in for talking. Just hit me up anywhere where you can find me.
Joe says, I know Randy isn't Brian K. Morris, but # don't die. End the show on time. to be enjoy anniversary. Yes. Thank you. Russ, how can folks find you?
Yeah, just quickly show you this. That's what I finished that during the.
Wow.
Doing this.
Hang on.
Nice.
There we go.
Hell
Awesome.
yeah.
Look at that crackle.
Wow. Bit of Kirby crackle there.
Awesome.
Dude.
Right, so finish that while we were talking.
Epic.
You can find out how I do some of that stuff by going to see me on YouTube as Comic Book Black Belt. That's the channel. You can find me on the Twitter, on the Facebook, all those kind of places. I'll respond to you. Don't worry. I speak to all kinds of mad people, as most of the time I'm shouting at parked cars anyway. You can also find me at russleach.com, comicbookblackbelt.com. You can find out about my book, Only Death Can Save Us, onlydeathcansavus.com. It is still available in demand if you want the original version, which will not be reprinted. However, we will be going to floppies later on this year with Arrow Comics, so find out more at Arrow Comics as well.
Yep.
I'm taking that PDF and printing it, by the way.
Mr. Glenn, how can they find you?
Yeah, really easy. Just put my name into Facebook, Amazon, or you can get me on Comics Unlimited Magazine at gmail.com.
That's Glenn with 2 N's and Fleming's with 1 M.
Yeah, and a B in if you like.
And a B in the middle. Yep.
Yep.
Nice.
Now he's just showing up. Mark's showing up. Daphne, how can folks find you?
You can find me at my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can read the first 5 issues of Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn for free. And you can also sign up to be notified when issue 2 of the physical full color copy becomes available on Kickstarter May 3rd. You can also find all my links to all my social media at EgoWorks. I post mostly on Facebook, where you can find a lot of I post a lot of like preview artworks and work in progress there. Or if you just want to watch me act up, I'm also on Twitter. You can also find a link at EgoWorks to talltalesonline.com. That's TAILS, where you can find a link to my Tall Tales Thieves Quest Volume 1 Kickstarter, which starts the series from the very beginning. It collects the first 5 issues of the series from back in 1992. So you want to start from the beginning, this is it. And we have 10 days left, and we're trying to break the 3K mark. I have a metal bookmark I'm trying to get to because I don't want to steal Anthony's ideas in vain. So head on over there, sign up, check out the Kickstarter, and that's it.
An awful lot of work for a teenager.
Yeah, really. World's oldest teenager right now.
Varian, how can folks find you?
Find me here on IndieVote. KYD_V on Twitter. Spoke to Mike's girlfriend, by the way. She told me the only thing wrong about him is his name. Anyway,
I find this very interesting because she's French.
She told me,
and she's left half a year ago. So you know what? Find me out today. I think I'll be doing an episode of special issues. We're going to be talking about some important topics in indie comics and comics in general. So catch me there. It's at 2:30 today. So catch me there. Might be 3 o'clock. I'm not sure because times kind of get
time slips away.
Yeah. So I'll be doing that today, and then we're also wishing Randy a happy anniversary. Randy and Monica Zimmerman, happy anniversary. Hey.
Thank you. Wife's upstairs, probably standing at the basement stairs, tapping her foot, watching her watch. By the way. Absolutely. Are you done?
Yep.
Okay. You can find you can find Varian and I back Tuesday night on the Livewire program at 9 p.m. Varian and Eric maybe will be doing a Webtoons program Monday night at 9 p.m.
Yep, we got special guests this week too. So
somebody he can't remember, but
no, I can remember.
I do. I know who it is.
Yeah.
Mike knows
I know exactly who it is because I've run her into most of the shows so far. It's Nina Aberline.
That's right.
Who does the webtoon Sunrise Blossom, and she is coming to Indiegogo. So their mailing list is open right now. Look it up.
Cool. And Thursday morning at 9 a.m., for the breakfast buzz. You might see Varian and Daphne and myself there, and whoever else we can corral in. And then once again, what is it? Saturday nights or Saturday afternoon. Pitches Be Crazy with Brandon. A lot of fun. And then we'll be back again on Sunday at 9 a.m., hopefully a little more coordinated than this week for another episode of Sunday Funnies. And we wish you all the best. And we also, before we leave, we wanted to point out the Indiegogo that we currently have running for Indie Volt Revolt. We have 54 backers, 20 days left, or less than 3 weeks left. We broke the $2,000 mark a couple of days ago. It's a great 130 pages of black and white art, physical book you can hold in your hand. That is a flip book with double covers. One cover has got Russ Leach and Daphne Lage, and the other cover it's by Chris Scalf and Kirk Jarvinen, Jason Moore and Chris Hall. So take a look over there. It's a great collection of short stories done by a lot of the indie volters that you see pop in and out of our programs. So it's going to be a great book and a lot of fun. It will not be reprinted once the campaign is done. It will not be going in demand as Arrow Comics gears up for even more direct market books coming in the last part of the 2021. So, and you can find me, Randy Zimmerman, on Facebook. It's Randy Zimmerman, and as Randy Zim on the Twitter. You can find Arrow Comics 4.0 over on Facebook. Do go over and like that page. I put up whatever artwork that that's coming down the pike from Arrow Comics will be on that page first. Then the Arrow Comics 4.0 YouTube page will hold all of our videos, and there's new content coming up there here shortly. Promise. Other than that, we'll see you back here on the Indie Volt network all throughout the week, and I think that's it. I think we need to go.
Yeah, because we need to go because we just got a message because it says that someone on Facebook just said, I like a chocolate Terrence Howard. So it's time to go. Wrap this on up.
Okay, we want to remind everybody about the Indie Volt Awards, indievoltawards.com. We want to remind everybody about Liberty distribution at www.ledg.us.
We love Liberty.
We love Liberty. They'll be carrying all of the Arrow product as it becomes available. So if you're a retailer, you really want to get over there.
Look at all those publishers.
There we go. Look at all those publishers so far.
Yeah. There's more. Someone couldn't fit on the list, but
there's more coming.
Yeah.
You're gonna have
I'm still gonna hit you up on that one too.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah, I gotta call you about that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a cover for Hero Bot number 1.
Hey.
Anyway,
yes.
Hey, that's coming in August.
It's 1 minute to 11 o'clock. Sweet Jesus.
It is. I'm sure.
That was a really great piece, Russ. I can't believe you did that while we were here.
Oh, that's great. Thanks everybody for being a part of the show. We're going to go out the way we came in.
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming. Wish you all the best.
Later,
Take
guys.
care, everybody. Stay healthy.
Ciao.
Take care.
See ya.
Think about what you've accomplished.
You knew the job was dangerous